positive support from your team members.
That's right.
Are you ready? I'm ready. It's 4 o'clock. So it is 4 o'clock. It's time for our called meeting / work session for March 13th, 2025. Madam Superintendent, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, sir. The first item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. I make that recommendation.
We have a recommendation, board. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor by raised hand. It is unanimous.
Thank you. First, next item on the agenda, superintendent's report, and the first item under that is the SPLOST update for the SPLOST collection for January, and it's $781,581.47, which is up 1.6% to date from last year. Next item is school governance team update, and we appreciate and respect all of the things that our school governance teams do at each school. And what I will respectfully request Ms. Collis to do is to scroll through their itemized report of what happened at each school's meeting. Of course, East Fana did not have one, with a reminder to the public that this document can be found on Assembly by going to our website, and that the specific minutes from each of the school governance team's meetings can be found at that location, at the school location. Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Chair, next item on the agenda is information about a targeted support and improvement, a TSI, and I want to invite Dr. Connie Huff and Mr. Mark Young forward to give that update.
Good afternoon, board. We are here today to talk to you a little bit about Blue Ridge Elementary and their status as a TSI school. Now, this is information that was given to us from the State Department of Education in January, and it was based on scores from last spring's milestones. So there are all sorts of things we could say about the timeliness of receiving that data, but it takes them that long apparently to put it together and then come back to us and let us know that we have a school or multiple schools that are identified for support. And that's the whole purpose behind their list. It's not necessarily a got you, it's just that they review that data and they see which schools we need to be paying more attention to so that our students are as successful there as they can possibly be. So the list that Blue Ridge is on is called Targeted Support and Improvement, and this is something that's an annual identification. So we got identified in January. We give the milestones in April. So once we found out that we were on that list, started looking at ways to improve immediately, because the improvement cycle lasts for a whole year, but by the time January rolls around again, we don't plan to be on that list anymore. These are a list of the different types of identifications that you can receive when your scores are reviewed. There are items on there that it's a 3-year thing if you make that list for the comprehensive improvement. Ours is annual, and it is because our students with disabilities at Blue Ridge Elementary scored in the bottom 5% of elementary schools in the state. And this is just a little flow chart that they give us that shows you why you're on there, the things that they look at, and they looked at content mastery, how our kids tested in language arts and math, and that was our area where we fell short. Again, we're going to fix that immediately. The other two things that are on there are things that we met the mark on those, but that first one, content mastery, was where we fell a little short. And these are just some more notes there to kind of reiterate and be able to see, because that last slide had some very small print, what a TSI school is all about. And if you've got a pen handy, I want you to write down the following numbers: 23.7, because that is the cut score that our schools and our subgroups were supposed to hit in order to be on or off that list. So this is some data that we compiled here locally, and you can see where we compile the data for all of our schools. Those that are in yellow, those are our content, that score I just had you write down. And then unfortunately, Blue Ridge overall for our students with disabilities was below the 23.7. If you're interested in more information about this, our CCRPI page from the Department of Ed is where you can go and find that out. This does have a live link at the top, and maybe on Assembly, the live link will still work on the PDF. And I put 2 screenshots there that will help you kind of see what you're looking for when you go in. And I'm going to give it over to Mr. Young now to talk about some things that we're doing to fix this.
Good evening, Board, Madam Superintendent. I'd like to show you just a little bit of data here. This is the kind of data that we gather from a universal screener, which is something we give every student in the school. And we use this data to drill down and really target what and who we need to target. So this is the kind of thing that we would take and use with our students or with our teachers so that we make sure we're hitting the right population of students. We do the same thing for math and language arts, and you can see just an example of that. But what I'd really like to focus on this evening is, the next slide, please. This is what we started doing immediately. The very day that I heard, we were on a virtual day, and Dr. Roof and Dr. Huff called me, and we had a meeting about 2 o'clock, I think, and basically told me that we were going to be on this list and they were coming out. I said, well, we need to get to work immediately. So that evening, I contacted the teachers of the students with disabilities that ended on this list, and we started making plans virtually. We started talking and started trying to target the things that we needed to do to really make things happen for us. These are it's kind of a summary of the things that we have. District and school collaborating on short and long-term plans. We basically made a set of plans the next couple of weeks. This is what we're going to do between now and the test. But we don't want to just make plans to pass the test. We want to put in lasting things that are going to help us continue to improve. And I've talked to the staff over and over about, let's put some things in place that are going to help us improve even after we're gone. You know, even after some of us have retired, we want to put things in place that are going to be lasting, and we'll hang in there. We've put a laser focus on Tier 1 instruction. Tier 1 instruction is what you know and love, is what you get in the classroom. It's just what we teach everybody. It's good old-fashioned instruction, what you get. Sometimes our students with disabilities, we emphasize a lot of things that they need and specialize so much that this can get lost in the shuffle. So we want to make sure that our students with disabilities get exposed to everything that everybody else does as well. In other words, we don't want to pull them off in small classes. Many of you probably remember the days when special education students or students with disabilities may have been pulled off in smaller classes and so forth. There's a need for that with some students, but we really need to focus on that Tier 1 instruction. Not only will that help students with disabilities, it'll help everybody else. We also started some data reviews. Those remediation plans you see listed there, we took some days with our teachers, put the co-teaching pairs, like 3rd grade has a regular education teacher and a co-teacher in that classroom to represent the students with disabilities. We took a day for those guys to really dig down in the data and find out what it is I need for each individual kid. We went further and beyond what we normally would with each individual kid. I said, what will it take for this student to improve to the level that we really need to help them achieve the best they can? So those teachers right away sat down, did those remediation plans led by myself and mostly by the academic coach, Miss Emily Adams. She did a great job with that, and we appreciate her. We developed some mini lessons and things that we need to do. We talked about spiraling, which is going back and teaching the things that we've already taught. In other words, we don't just teach one concept or skill and never revisit that, but we fixed it so we're spiraling back and revisiting things over and over and over. And test prep. We don't like to talk about that always, but there is an art to taking a test. These students need to know what it's going to take for me to be able to pass this test. What skills do I need? A lot of that involves perseverance, being able to read long passages, being able to write effectively. I don't know if you're familiar with the milestones or not, but the students in 3rd, 4th, and 5th have to write an essay on a computer to be able to do well on the test. So they need to be able to write a well-composed paragraph, and in some cases, a 2 or 3 paragraph essay to be able to achieve well on that test, far above and beyond what we did when we were in school. But they need to be able to do that on a computer. Sometimes we may not spend enough time practicing that, so they'll have the skills that they need for that. And we looked at reassessing the things that we need to do to set that bar a little higher. Often we talk about pushing students, and I'm kind of the opposite of that. I talk about pulling students. I talk about those people that are already at the plateau they need to be, pulling the others along. And it's kind of like on a baseball team or a track team. Those folks that can really achieve can challenge the other ones to come along. And I think that's the mentality that we need to have. And that's what we're working toward. We're going to ensure that our small group resource classes are not just covering those individual goals for students, but we're not going to forget the standards that they're going to be tested on. IEP goals are made for an individual, but also they're tested on standards that are set forth by the state of Georgia, GSE, the Georgia Standards of Excellence. So they're tested just like everybody else is at the same level. So we want to make sure that we are not forgetting that they're not going to be tested on the skills that we're working on that they have deficits in, but they're also going to be tested on those standards just like everybody else. And we're talking about math as well. Math is not as big of an area of struggle for students with disabilities right now, but it could be. So we're making sure we do that. I get to end up, so that's good. So one thing I wanted to say about Blue Ridge Elementary is I hope that you don't let this define what Blue Ridge Elementary is. I want you to know that it's full of one of the best faculty and staffs that I've ever been around. They love kids. They love what they do. They show up every day and they work hard. And this is not a representation of people who are not working hard and trying and loving students. But this is something that we need to step up and deal with. And we're certainly going to do that. We're taking it seriously. But we're not going to stop all the other wonderful things that are going on. There's a lot of great things going on at Blue Ridge Elementary. This is a very small piece of the overall picture that has landed us on this list. We're working very hard to make sure that we shore up that piece, but we're not forgetting about the rest. So Bible says, if you can't contend with the footmen, how are you going to run with the horses? We've been contending with the footmen. Now we're running with the horses. So we've got to work on that and making sure that we up our game and take care of those students with disabilities. So, anybody have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I can comment there.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think in no way is a representation of Blue Ridge Elementary School.
That's right.
My child with disabilities came through that school, and I have one there currently now. And kind of what Dr. Huff covered last month, that's a wide world you're in with disabilities.
Yes.
And when those staff members have to make sure that every letter is taken care of in that IEP and not forget the standards of testing as well. So just looking at what you guys got going, I think it's going to be a thing of the past pretty quick.
Yes. Thank you for that
Yeah,
comment.
we appreciate you.
Thank you for that comment.
Mr. Young, I may have missed it in the deck, but how many students are affected in this?
About 28 students made up that score that you saw that landed us on this list. And they
Okay.
were students from last year, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I believe there was about 27, 28.
And I understand that test is retaken this year in April. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we had about, by the time we got back to school from virtual days and things like that, we had about 8 weeks. Right now we have 4.
Okay.
Any more questions? Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Huff. Thank you, Mr. Young. And Mr. Young, thank you for those kind words about your faculty and staff. Mr. Chair, next item on the agenda is an update on the annual board internal review. An internal review is something that this board chooses to do annually as part of the pathway to being recognized as an exemplary board. The internal review committee this year was made up of board chair Mike Cole, board member Miss Ashley Weeks, community member Frank Wood, and then community member Sherry Holloway. And what that exercise is that we met on Tuesday, March the 4th, and evaluate the function of the board against the GSBA, which is the Georgia School Boards Association standards for local boards of education. And from that review, the committee determined that all members of the Fannin County Board of Education function together as a well-organized team and in a professional manner, that they adhere to the board code of ethics, and that they're making strides to always make every decision that's best for the students of Fannin County. So I was very proud of that process and very proud of the findings of that committee, and I look forward to doing that every year. And I would like to personally thank Mr. Cole and Ms. Weeks for participating in that review. So, thank you. So, anything from Mr. Cole or Ms. Weeks on that other about the process or any of that thing? It's kind of a grueling process with a lot of standards, so they stuck with it. So next item on the agenda is school happenings, and Dr. Hodges, will you come brag on your school for me, please, ma'am?
Good afternoon, Board. Ms. Dillard, thank you for giving me the opportunity to brag on the middle school. When I sat down to try to condense all the things that we've done since August into one presentation, I had to leave some things out because we've been doing such great things, and so I've tried to condense it as much as I could, but there are just some things I have to brag about, so I'm going to do that at this time. First, you'll see that we added several new staff members to our faculty this year. I'm going to get a little closer so I can make sure I see their faces and tell you their names. We have Mr. Andrew Ladd, who transferred to us from West Fannin. He's a math teacher in 8th grade. We have Miss Ann Catherine Thomas, who came to us from another county. It's her first year as a full-time classroom teacher, and she's teaching our physical science high school credit course. We have Miss Lynette Hall, who's joined us in our cafeteria staff. Mr. Scott Coulter, who is a 6th grade teacher. He is coming from South Georgia, and he teaches 6th grade social studies. We have Miss Faith Dean, who joined us as a 6th grade ELA teacher. We have Miss Jessica Seabolt, who is our ESOL teacher. We have Miss Erin Panter, who is our new STEM teacher in our exploratory classes. We have Miss Morgan Rhodes, who is in our library. She is our media specialist paraprofessional. We have Mr. Tommy Ledford, who has joined our custodial staff. Miss Libby Gibson is a new 7th grade math teacher. We have Miss Tina Merrill, who is stationed at our campus. She's not new to our staff, but she is officially part of our staff and serves many of our students that are visually impaired. We have, I can't see who that is. We have Miss Murphy. She always wears her hair up, so that picture is throwing me off. That's Miss Murphy McConnell. She's our science teacher in 7th grade who came to us from Union County. We have Miss Crystal Stoff, who is our adaptive special education teacher and teaches a resource class as well. Miss Megan Albertson is an ELA teacher in 6th grade. Miss York, Shannon York, came to us from the high school and has joined our administrative staff. And we have Miss Jenna Fairchild, who came to us from, I think she came from Carroll County, and she's a 6th grade math teacher. So we have had a great addition to our staff. It's a lot of people, but they have just come in and really just become part of our family and have done a fantastic job. The first thing I want to talk about as far as our whole school program is our academics program. And I put that here first because our teachers, our classroom teachers, day in and day out, do a fantastic job. They go in, they look at their standards, they organize, they prepare, they collaborate, and this is just a small like snapshot of the things that they do in their classroom. They have day-to-day routine things that they teach and that students, you know, some students love, some students don't love, but then they add things in there that are active and engaging. They get students out of the classroom, outside. It's just really, really refreshing to see teachers who are so excited about developing relationships with students and finding ways to make their content come alive to the students that are in their classroom every day. I wanted to brag about our new health and nutrition class. So our health and nutrition class was added this year. They used to teach it at the middle school, and it's been gone for some time, but we brought it back this year. And Miss Hannah Godfrey is a teacher in that classroom. She has done an amazing job of trying to kind of pattern what the food and nutrition pathway does at the high school level and bring it down to the middle school to teach students the standards that are in their grade level, but it's all about making healthy choices and healthy decisions. And so we have high school students who have come down and done presentations for our staff, for our students in this class. We've had community members. You can see in the pictures that we've had EMS and some healthcare professionals come in and do presentations just to teach students about making healthy choices and taking care of their body, taking care of their teeth. We had Dr. Seabolt and Miss Amber Patterson came in last week to teach students about, oral hygiene. And so they have learned to cook. We've had restaurants in our community open up our doors so our students could go in, and they have been amazing. They've donated materials. They've presented or created presentations for our students to teach them about food safety and how they care for preparing food when they're serving it to other people. They've learned about just general health care and how to, make good choices when they become drivers and, why vaping is bad. And so it's just been really, really incredible to see her kind of grow that into her own program, and the students love it. I think when we first mentioned it, people were nervous because they think of health and they're like, what are they going to be teaching our children? But I think by and large, the students and the parents have been very, very pleased with what their students are learning in this class. Next, I will talk a little bit about computer science and TSA. Our TSA program is our Technology Students of America. Dr. Champion, Michelle Champion, is our advisor for that. She also teaches computer science. So one of our connections classes is computer science. It's required by the state, and the students come in and they learn about just all things computer science. They learn about phishing and how to determine what's a phishing email. They learn about programming and coding, just a wide variety of topics. But in TSA, they also get to take those skills and compete. Right now, our students, middle school students, are in Athens, and they're competing in several different events where they program computers, they build things, they take robots and direct them through a maze. And so they really do some incredible things. You'll see in the bottom middle picture where they build a boat out of cardboard, and they actually have to put it in a pool and get in it to see if it's going to float. So it takes a lot of creativity and planning. Our students also that serve on the leadership team in that organization are leaders on our campus. They act as hosts. They welcome people, greet people. Sometimes they guide people around campus. And so it's just a really incredible opportunity for students to learn new skills in technology and computer science, but also learn how to interact with people and become leaders on campus. For our agriculture program, we have an agriculture class. And in that class, they learn a variety of topics about animals and farming and just agriculture in general. But in FFA, they have a chance to apply those skills that they've learned to all types of events, competitions. They do meat judging and egg candling. They have livestock that they show. And I don't know if you've never been to a livestock show, it's pretty interesting. And I've had to get them to explain, I played softball and I know how to compete there and I understand those kind of rules, but what are you trying to do? Because I don't understand it when I'm just looking at it. And they've been able to tell me. It's been fun to listen to them explain and brag about what they've done. But these pictures are just a few things about what they've done this year. That bottom middle picture of them in a boat, they actually got to go to a leadership camp at the beginning of the year where they travel and they learn how to work and lead their organization. And so our CTSO programs, our organizations that are affiliated with CTAE, they really do teach our students how to become leaders. And they give them a set of skills that don't always come naturally, and it's just a really good opportunity for them to grow and learn how to be good, responsible citizens and community members. Our health occupations course also has a CTS organization, and so you'll see pictures here represented of some of the students who are taking health occupations, which is just a junior version of what they do at the high school, where they're learning to take blood pressure. Each 9 weeks, there's a time where they come around and they just come into your office or your classroom and they just say, hey, I need to take your blood pressure, which scares some of the adults because they may not always have the best blood pressure at certain times of the day. But they come and they just learn how to be service providers. Our recent event that they've done at school is we've had teachers volunteer to have blood drawn by our teacher in the classroom, and then the students actually blood type. They learn how to type the blood, which is incredible to me. We have 7th and 8th graders that are learning how to figure out blood type based on a sample that they're given. So they've just had some really, really cool opportunities. Our students who are in 7th and 8th grade also have the opportunity to become CPR certified. Our teacher is a certified trainer, and so our students can leave with a certification in CPR. And that's really great for 12 and 13-year-olds to have that and be able to take out in the various events that they participate in. It's really cool. Miss Pancher, our new STEM teacher, came in this year. She came to us from Cartersville area. She taught at Cass High School, and she has a degree in wildlife biology, and she's come in and just kind of been learning the lay of the land, but she has jumped right in. We are still trying to maintain our stream and improve the health of our stream, the creeks that are the streams that run behind our school. And students are out there and waders. They love to get out there in the water and collect samples. They've recently been taking leaf packets and looking at the macroinvertebrates, which actually determine how healthy our streams are. You can see them there with some of the water samples. They have applied for Georgia Hemlocks grant and won the grant, and so we've gotten money to help treat the hemlocks that are on our campus, and I've learned a lot about those kinds of things as I've become a principal at Fannin County Middle School. So they're really, I feel like we could probably be labeled as a conservation school because that's what we do. We try to make our environment that we've been given and take care of it and make it and save the things that are on it to protect them and keep them beautiful. She's also continued the trout project that has been ongoing at Fannin Middle School. We had a donation from Trout Unlimited and the hatchery, and they have trout that are currently in an aquarium in the classroom, and they have plans in May to go release those trout into a healthy stream. Our band program is thriving. Our students, the program is growing in number, but Ms. Patch has done an excellent job of preparing these students. Yesterday, they were able to go to Dawsonville and compete in their large group performance evaluation, and they had an overall superior rating. Very, very good. Very, very good. And it's hard for middle schoolers. You know, this is like the Georgia milestones for the band. Mm-hmm. They have these criteria that they have to go in, and they're graded against the criteria. They're not competing against other bands. They're competing against themselves and these criteria that they have to meet. So it's really, really important to Miss Patch, and she does a great job. I do want to point out the 4 students that are listed on the congratulations slide. All of these students they learned scales and music and auditioned to be part of the 9th, I think it's the 9th GMEA District 9th North Honor Band. So that's really, I did that when I was in junior high, and it's nerve-wracking when you have to sit in front of a group like you with your instrument and play and you have to know it by memory, like that's a lot of pressure. And so I'm super proud of these students who are able to go and do that and earn that honor. So we have had tons of special events this year. One of the first things that we do in the school year is we invite our new sixth graders to come in with their parents, and they walk through their sixth grade schedule. And so they get to sit, the parents get to sit in the classroom. We ring a bell. I think we actually came over the intercom and said, okay, it's time to go to your next class. And each teacher gets to visit and tell them exactly what the expectations are in their classroom. They get to walk all over our building. And then we always give an incentive of some type of drawing to encourage the students to come. And we like to celebrate when they win those things for coming. We also have a tome team, which is our reading bowl group, and they are given a requirement of reading so many novels for the year, and they have intervals where they take tests on these novels. And so they are about to go, I think next week, to Athens for a convention for reading, for reading, I guess, is what it is. I went last year with the students where they meet authors. They get to learn how to write things if they want to be an author. It's really, really cool. And so we are really proud of these students who have taken the initiative to read these books that they're assigned and just take tests and try to show what they learned. We had a fall dance, which is always interesting. It's kind of like just a glimpse into what middle school looks like. They come out and sometimes they dance, sometimes they don't. It's a social experiment for sure to watch them and see how they interact with each other. But it's a lot of fun. We try to get out there and dance with them and be goofy, and it's just a good time for them to come and learn what middle school is all about. We also did a Georgia Reads Day, and in middle school it's harder to motivate students to read. And so this year we did mystery readers. So there were a few of us that dressed up in those big inflatable costumes where they couldn't see our faces, and we disguised our voices and read some of our favorite passages of our favorite books, and they had to guess who we were. And so the kids were really funny about trying to figure out who was in what costume. Of course, we love celebrating Veterans Day. We do our parade on campus, and that seems to be a really popular event. It's different than the other schools and the programs that they have, and I think that our veterans love dressing up their motorcycles and their old cars and their trucks and driving through. And our kids really enjoy, making the posters and serving when we have our reception. It's just a really true testament to our community and just the camaraderie that's in our community and the way they celebrate. I will have to say, and this is not about our school, but when I moved up here, my dad is a veteran, and I just am so impressed at our community and how people, our children, our adults, understand and respect what that means. And so I'm proud that we get to share that with our students and help just build that legacy of respect. We also had our first county-wide science fair for middle and high school students. So our students competed, and they were judged by different teachers and community members that came in and looked at their projects. And so it was a really successful event, and I hope we're able to continue to do that. In May, the middle school is hosting a science fair for the elementary students. And so we're excited to see what our junior investigators come up with, and hope we can continue to cultivate that throughout the years as they come into middle school. We had a fantastic literacy night where we had our book fair, and we had teachers develop some activities for families to do together. We had a very competitive bingo for books and games that we were able to have, and it's always fun to watch those students and parents just bash it out over bingo cards. We had a career fair, which I'm very proud of. This is the second year in a row that we've had the career fair. I think we had over 32 booths in our gym that represented all 32 different careers. We may have had more than, I know we had more adults than that, but we had our community members in the building. We had service providers outside of the building, and our students really, really love it. I think it's a good thing for them to learn how to interact with adults and ask questions get some exposure to some things they may not have ever considered for a career. And so our counselors did a fantastic job of organizing that for us. We held our Miss FCMS pageant in the fall. And so the photo on the left there is all of our contestants. And then you have our two crowned participants. Miss Morgan Nelson is on the right. She is our Miss FCMS. And then Miss Haley Stewart is there in the middle. She's our junior Miss FCMS. It was a great event. The girls love it. It's always done very, very well. And it's just it's good to see them dressed up and in a different element. And it's a good event that's good for camaraderie and building relationships between our student body too. We have 3 athletic seasons at the middle school. In the fall, we have volleyball, cross country, we have tennis, softball, football, and cheerleading. And so all of those events are there. The tennis, there's a boys team and a girls team, and I'm going to have to consult my notes to make sure I tell you all the right things that happen in the fall. Cross country won the region, and they placed second in state. Our softball team, this may not seem a lot to a lot of you, but they finished with a 500 season, which is incredible. Because I think they won 1 game maybe last year, maybe not any, I can't remember, but that was a huge accomplishment for them to come and make that much of an improvement. Football, the 8th grade team finished as the Mountain League runner-up. And tennis, this is our 2nd year of having tennis as a sport, and they made the playoffs this year, which is really, really exciting. In the winter, we had wrestling. We had 2 girls basketball teams and 2 boys basketball teams. So for our winter athletics, the wrestling team qualified for dual playoffs for the first time in 7 years. We had Adrian Ruiz, who won league champion, and Jackson Thigpen won league runner-up. And then Reed Summers placed 3rd in his weight class for the league. In basketball, 3 of the 4 teams made the playoffs, which is really excellent. 7th grade team won the Mountain League championship for the girls, and the 8th grade team were league runner-ups. Currently, we have our spring athletics going on. We have a boys and girls soccer team. We have baseball. We have golf. And for the first time ever, we have track. And I just want to say, we have 80 students participating in track. It is unreal. I think it's just a testament to how badly we needed that program at the middle school and how much students want to be a part of something. And so I'm just really, really impressed that our coaches are willing to take all these kids and teach them and train them. Our coaches are incredible. I do want to give a shout out for a few of our people that help us in athletics. We have our softball team that plays at City Park. Our rec department is very great to help provide us with places for our students to play. They also allow us to use the rec center for baseball. And so our students are bused from the middle school to the rec center to play baseball and practice baseball. I want to thank FCHS for allowing our wrestling team to use their facility because for the track facility, if we did not have those things available to us, even the tennis courts, I don't know that we would be able to have all these programs for our students. So we're real appreciative of the support that we get in our community. And of course, we love to celebrate at the middle school. We love to celebrate our students. We love to celebrate our staff. You can see a variety of different things that we've done this year. We try to host occasional pep events for our staff when they seem to be, getting tired or just need a little boost. We do things for our staff. We love participating in the homecoming parade that FCHS puts on. It's a lot of fun. Our nutrition staff hosts some fun events with National Lunch Week and National Breakfast Week, and you can see some of that there. We have reward days twice a year where our students who are doing all the things they're supposed to do get to participate in some fun activities of choice. I think there may be another slide. You'll see some dress-up days. We celebrate when our students win poster contests. Our art teacher hosts and takes care of those for, I think there's a cybersecurity, there is a school bus poster, school bus safety poster. So we participate in those and celebrate our kiddos who do that. We have Students of the Month, where we celebrate their character. We have teachers and certified and classified staff of the month that we celebrate as well. And we just love to be able to do fun things that recognize the hard work of adults and students on our campus. Reach Scholarship, our Reach Scholarship program is one of the huge events that we have every year. Reach Georgia is a needs-based mentoring and scholarship program providing promising students the support to graduate from high school and achieve post-secondary success. And so this year we have Adrian Ruiz, Lily Edwards, Jaden Collins, and Mitchell Martin, who are all recognized as Reach Scholars. We have a big ceremony, and it is a big deal to celebrate these students because they a lot of times may not have the opportunity to go on post-secondary to pursue their goals if it weren't for this program. So it's really incredible. I also want to point out our community partners. We could not do near all of the things that we do without our community partners. It's from providing a meal for our staff. United Community Bank, since I've been at the middle school, they've provided a meal for our staff when they come back during pre-planning. We have, let's see if I can. We have Mr. Brumbelow, who came just because we wanted to start a flag crew at our school where the students were responsible for putting up the flag every day and maintaining, putting it up and taking it down. He came in and trained our staff. And most of these students have had this program at the elementary level. It was just reminding them of the processes. And so he came in and did that. Trout Unlimited and the hatchery, help with our trout eggs there. We have parents and other community members who come in and just donate their time to teach our students more about what they do for a living and their passions. And I can't say enough about our community restaurants that have been willing to either come to our school and teach our kids and donate supplies for them to cook and learn about nutrition, or open up their doors where we can just come in and use their kitchens and the facilities that they have so our students can learn more about it. It's been truly incredible. And then lastly, I just want to say I'm very appreciative for the funds that we receive from SPLOST. You can see the improvements we've been able to make. It's as simple as striping the curbing so our students know when they're stepping off the curb, to making our floors and walls look beautiful. We've gotten to update some furniture and just the look so that we can kind of move into the new century of decor for office furniture and just the way it looks. I mean, it just looks good. And so we're truly grateful for that and the support that all of you and our community gives us. So thank you. Do you have
Dr.
any
Hodges,
questions?
thank you and your team for all that you do.
I want to say real quick that I'm thankful for everything that's going on at the middle school, and I just brag on you a little bit. I appreciate what you're doing, and a lot of good things going on. I don't just say that from what I see, but if you want to know how well somebody's doing, you just listen to what people say that work under them, and you get a lot of compliments. So thank y'all for what you're doing, all the extra effort and time that y'all are all putting into our kids and extracurricular activities and all those things. It's awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you also. Middle school can be a fun age to be with. And I believe you guys are providing a great foundation for these young teenagers. So, obviously I have a son there too, and I hear a lot of compliments. So thank you guys for the great work and for all the efforts. You said 80 kids. We were at the track meet the other day, and it was a madhouse. I don't know how they keep their head on straight, but it's obvious you guys are doing everything you can to keep kids involved. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. That's a tough time period. And track and field meets are, I've been having this conversation with a lot of people that are not familiar with them. They're very long. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be a good feeder program,
Yeah.
for sure.
Good job.
Yeah, a lot to celebrate. We're very thankful. Mr. Chair, next item on the agenda is I would like to recommend executive session for safety and real estate, and with the chair's agreement, I would like to invite Lieutenant Couch, Mr. Darren Danner, and Miss Lynn Doss.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We have a recommendation, board. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion. Is there a second? Have a motion and a second. All in favor by raised hand? It is unanimous. While in executive session, no action was taken, so I would entertain a motion to return from executive session.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor by raised hand? It is unanimous. Sorry about that. Hope I didn't scare nobody. Now I would entertain a motion to adjourn this session.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to adjourn this session.
Thank you, sir. I'll second that. All in favor by raised hand? It is unanimous. Continue your conversation.
How about continue your celebrations?
That's right.
Yeah.